Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Audible. Good afternoon.
So it's a good thing. अब मॉर्निंग में जब एक थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन हमने स्टार्ट किया था डेलीगेट्स के लिए, सो दैट ईच वन कैन इंटरेक्ट विथ एवरीवन, थोड़ा सा अपने आप का इंट्रोडक्शन आप कर देंगे तो बाकी जो डेलीगेट्स कहाँ कहाँ से, कौन सी यूनिवर्सिटी से, तो वो समय रह गया था, थोड़ा सा आधा ही रह गया. एंड नाउ ऑल्सो जो वाविया सर हमारे नेक्स्ट रिसोर्स पर्सन है, he has asked for some more time. He has got some urgent meeting with the some director or VC over there, so he has requested for some more time, so we'll let you know. But before that, even I have requested, even VC sir also wanted to interact with all of you regarding the DIPSAR University, हमारी क्या क्या एक्टिविटीज चल रही है. But meanwhile, I request all of you to you can show your videos, and so that I can ask all of you to introduce themselves. So I think here first I can see Gajanan is there.
Good afternoon, sir. Very good afternoon.
Very good afternoon, please.
Sir, I am Dr. Gajanan from Rajesh Shahu College of Pharmacy, Buldana.
Good, good.
I'm working as an assistant professor in Rajesh Shahu College of Pharmacy. First of all, I really congratulate to DIPSAR that organized a very genuine QIP program. Actually, I enjoyed last day very nice sessions conducted by the DIPSAR. I really congratulate to all the team. Personally, I would like to thank you, Parle ma'am. Actually, she sung very nice last day. Actually, I heard. So that was a really nice initiation of the program.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me opportunity to participate in this particular program. Thank you.
From the Jain sir, Shri Jain sir's college.
Shri Jain, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, regards to him, good friend of mine.
Yes, thank you.
Very good. Where from you completed your BPharm, MPharm?
Government College of Pharmacy, Aurangabad. I'm a disciple of Dr. V.K. Maurya.
Okay, Moria.
Yes, sir.
हमारे गुरु भाई है. I am also student of V.K. Maurya, sir.
Okay.
Please, very good.
I worked with V.K. Moria in Ranbaxy R&D for 2 years, in 1983 to 85. So you convey my regards to him. I am Dr. S.K. Sharma from Delhi. Okay, we
Sure,
were
sir,
together
sure.
in Ranbaxy. Please.
Pleasure to meet you, sir. Pleasure to meet you.
Same here. Nice. Okay.
Young Sharma sir is a very good friend of mine, and we have done PhD together in ESTI.
Yeah.
So
Dr. Moria was also doing at the same
yes,
time, isn't it?
at the same time. From the
He was.
So all you
PhD
from Sagar, ma'am.
at
Am I
the
right?
same time.
nahi, sir is
No, from SGSITU Indore.
Okay.
We were together.
I'll request Mahesh Narkade sir, possible speak out. Yes, Sponge sir.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Good
I am from Dr. Rajendra Gode, College of Pharmacy, Malkapur.
Okay, okay. You are the
Hello.
members of Sikande sir. Very good.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Yeah, I am here HOD from Department of Pharmacology.
Very good. Please
Yes.
tell your interests, research areas in which you are working.
Actually, my research area is experimental pharmacology.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Nice
you, sir,
to meet you.
for giving me opportunity to join this program.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Madam Madhuri
Hello.
Deshmukh, please go ahead.
Madhuri Deshmukh from Rajgarh Nanpid Pharmacy College, Bhor, Maharashtra.
Bhor. Okay. So,
Okay, sir.
Dr.
Thank you.
Dade sir is principal over there. Thank you very much. Sandeep Shirsagar ji.
Yes, sir. I am Mr. Sandeep Shrikishan Shirsagar from Dr. D.Y. Patil College of Pharmacy, Akurdi, Pune. Yeah, my specialization is pharmaceutical chemistry. I have completed my master's from Sharad Pawar College of Pharmacy, Nagpur. And my research guide is Dr. K.P. Bhusari, sir, respected Dr. K.P. Bhusari, sir. And right now I have registered as a research scholar for PhD at Savitribai Phule, Pune University, under the guidance of respected Dr. Rajeshi Chauhan, madam. And my research area is actually drug design and discovery, that is QSAR. That's why this QIP is very helpful to me. I'm very glad to attend last two sessions.
Very good.
Thank you, sir.
Sharad Pawar College of Pharmacy was doing very good work in the drug design with Bhusari sir as well as Mr.
Yes,
Amnekar.
sir.
So,
Amnekar, yes. And right now I'm working at Dr. D.Y. Patil College of Pharmacy, Akurdi, Pune. Here is also our principal, Dr. Neeraj Vyavare, sir. Got the best principal award in last year.
Yes.
For Savitribai Phule University.
My regards.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Sandeep. Dr.
Yes.
Subhash. Deshpande sir, बोलिए.
Yeah, very good afternoon, sir. My name is Sapan Shah from Priyadarshini Jail College of Pharmacy in Nagpur. I'm working as an assistant professor. And like the Sandeep sir, I'm also doing my PhD. So I'm also a research scholar. And my area of research is also drug designing. So belong to the same field, sir. And it is this QIP, definitely helped me to better understand the knowledge concept in drug designing and in silico modeling of the pharmaceutical drugs. So I think it will be a best opportunity for me. So I thanks sir to you as well as whole team DIPSAR.
Thank you very much. Vice Chancellor sir has joined. I'll request Goel sir to give some glimpses of the unit, what we are doing. We are doing very nicely. Please, sir, unmute yourself.
Okay. A very good afternoon and welcome to all the participants. I would like to give a brief about the university. So how long you want me to tell? 5 minutes, 10 minutes? So,
sir, you continue. Till
no, I don't say this. I'm a teacher.
Yes.
So teacher means 45 minutes में पता नहीं पड़ेगा, वो वाविया साहब बोलते रह जाएंगे. So better है कि time दे दो मुझे.
कॉल आ जाएगा तब उसमें बताएंगे आपको सर.
Okay, so 10 minutes, okay? Okay, let me see. Okay, all right.
No problem.
So to tell that, let me have a brief. I will share the screen, and in that screen, I will tell you. Okay, I will be sharing the screen now.
Yes, you're able to.
You can see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Why I am not in a position to see.
We are able to see the screen, sir. Only thing you have to just enlarge it. That is the only thing.
No, that's what. Just a minute. I don't know where that screen has gone. There is something wrong.
No problem.
No. Okay, let me stop it again and then see it.
Yes.
Share the screen. So that share the screen. Yeah. Share.
सर इस पे क्लिक कीजिए.
हाँ?
इस पे
नहीं,
इस पे क्लिक करेंगे. स्क्रीन बैक में आ रहा है ना.
Okay.
इसे सब मिनिमाइज कर दो यहाँ से.
Okay, is it possible to? Okay, now. All right. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Now, So I will tell how this university came into existence. You all know that this is the first university in pharmacy in India. I'm told that it is number 3, and we tried to verify, but probably that may not be true also. There may be some other universities in some other countries. I'm trying to search that out properly. Still, after I repeatedly try, but somehow it could not become. But anyway, you all know that the foundation of this place or this university was in 1964, when it was simply a polytechnic with diploma, got B.Pharm courses, moved to the current campus in 1979. And in 2004, it was the institute, DIPSAR. And DIPSAR became so popular name, even I also fondly say, it is DIPSRU. DIPSAR University, I always call that way. That is what is, I still like that. I don't like that DPSRU is there something like DIPSRU or something. That I word is not there, but I always like DIPSRU. So this is a DIPSAR University. Because it is there's a light coming in it. Deep, that is what I feel. Anyway, you can see the way in which we have grown with physiotherapy, master in management, master in physio, public health, MBA programs, sports sciences, and all other things they have come in. Well, the unique part is that it has got even the skill development programs. We have the incubation and innovation center also. With the startups, of course, many have started getting exit, and I'm sure that soon we will be back in the same numbers. And we have Bioness Center also. That means the bio incubator of the Department of Biotechnology, or BIREC. So that is another thing. If you look any university, you may find Senate, syndicate members. Here we have a general council like a the Senate, and syndicate is like a board of governor, what we say executive council. Now here, the way if you see, they are none of them are from the leaders or nominees of government or anything like that. They are all highly illustrious persons, like Balram Bhargav, who knows, who I need not to tell who is he. Kiran Majmudar Shaw, I don't think I have to tell who is she. Dr. G.N. Singh, Dr. Sridhar Dwivedi, Arun Agrawal, they have been all with the aims. So like that, Dr. Katoch, again Director General, and Dr. S.K. Gupta, our own people. So Dr. G.N. Kaji, who brought the number 1, the university, the Rajesh Jain, who is again there, and now it has been reconstituted. We will come to that. We have tried to have all sorts of accreditation, although AICT is not must for the university, but we continued that. And that is what is there. So practically we have the accreditations which are required. Let me share 2 more news that we have a physiotherapy unit, although within 5 years it is considered as one of the top 10 physiotherapy institutions. That is also there. Soon I am eager to tell that no, our pharmacy has also progressed well, although NIRF 25 is there, but we wish that it is number 10, less than 10. I mean, see, university means it has to have multiple units. And so what is the case? Apart from DIPSAR, the B.Pharm courses are running in pharmaceutical sciences, and we have the School of Pharmaceutical Sciences, School of Allied Health Sciences, wherein MPH, MHM, and we may have some more, physiotherapy, Academy of Sports Sciences, running the sports courses, incubation center, yoga, skill center, and the bioincubator centers, as I told you. Practically, it becomes almost like 30 plus departments. Although, like under pharmacology, you will see anatomy, physiology, but anatomy, physiology is exclusive for the physiotherapy also. So we are going to have one unit like that. So like that, the department numbers are going up. The beauty and wellness, sports digitalization, fitness management. See, in pharmacology, we teach the how to have the measurement of the stress level, the mental health. That all comes under sports digitalization also. If you visit, I mean, you are not here, we may try to have some virtual visit also. Let us see if possible of the university. We have different centers of excellence. Now, to say we are having many other centers, but these are some of the active centers right now. If you see how our university has progressed, initially we had intake of only 215. Now it is crossing 500. Number of students are reaching to close to 1500. So this is what is there. And M-Pharm in 12 branches, and all the time they are full. This is one of the unique example which we can say. Now the good part of, and which is satisfying, is that PG programs, the scholarships are also available. I mean, you can see most of them, they come with GPAT and some scholarship. What is the difference between you are seeing of 30 are more than the non-GPAT? They are the ones of the MPH and others also, for which we have to look for some funding. As far as the PhD program is concerned, one of the satisfying thing is that at least 60% of them, they get some scholarship either from industry or the scholarship from the DST, ICMR, CSIR, like that. So this is what is the important part which we can say in our university. PG students, now UG, I cannot talk the placement because they never, they are going all for the M-Pharm courses. And the very number of GPAT itself speaks that why they are not opting for job. They are all going more for the higher studies. And again, our 50% students get qualified in the GPAT, which is again, I am sure that this is a institute where such a large number is coming out at from one place. Placements are also good. Now this list has to be revised. It is an old slide, but what I want to tell is that in spite of limited number of the faculty, the publications and all, there used to be more, not only publications, but also articles, books, and the conferences attended by them. So we are all the faculty are active in that fashion. And so you can see the number is going to go further. Maybe in short time, I will be in a position to, we all will be in a position to tell that even the impact factor wise also we are higher. That's what is going to be there in shortly. That's what is there. If you see the workshops like quality improvement programs, QIP, you are knowing that it is 33rd. So obviously it is more. And then always we had the guest lectures, international conferences also. Permanent faculty, again, a pharmacy institute having 90 or 100 plus sanctioned posts are again rare in India. And now I am happy to share that the teaching posts have been filled also. That is what is important. I mean, we have already gone close to 41 now. It is not a projection. It is projected, but we already got more than around 50 are regular now. That's what I can say. This is what is something, again, it doesn't happen that easily, but the government was kind enough to give the post and allow us to fill also. Although our Delhi government gives enough grants, but I mean, it is 100% aided university, but we wish that our every faculty bring some grants also. This is a very small list, but it is going on. I mean, it will continue more. So extramural funds also, they are slowly increasing and they are going up. MOUs, you can see international universities, national universities, research organization, that is all going on. Publications, we could have even in a circulation research, we've tried, of course, Lancet, it did not work right now, but we are going to have something which is having or 10 or 15 plus impact factor journal also. Some of the things which have been a milestone is that we have probably this is the only university having ocular pharmacology lab and the center of excellence. This is the only university where sports science is linked to our pharmacy and other disciplines. We could develop the skill development programs in sports and sports pharmacy. And last year, when we launched the product, nutraceutical formulation, I was really feeling as if I have got the Nobel Prize rather. And now I am looking for, and maybe the news should come, that within 2-3 months we have a drug for COVID also. That's what is there. Hopefully next to next week the trials should start. That's what we are looking at. It is being done. It has all been signed. Everything has been the stage has been set for that. Now, for the university, we have made certain projections, and the projections are that we should increase the land to 40 acre minimum. But so to begin with, it is around 15 acres are going to come probably within 1 year. Budget also may go up. I have been little modest to tell all these figures because they have been almost close to achievements. But soon we should have 2,000 plus students in the campus or with the name of the university. Right now we are having 9. Actually, I projected 7, but we are having 9 units now. But so definitely the 12 will be achieved in 2025 itself, so that bar may go up. Departments 32 already, it may go up. PG courses are currently 18. And with the addition of 2 more, it is going to be 20. So what I projected 25 is again going to be revised. Maybe it has to be 30 or 35. And by 30, it may be 50 also. This is what is we have been very conservative to tell the figures also. Now, number of PhD coming out. Actually, this number is little misleading. I thought that by every year we will be graduating. We are awarding degrees close to 20. Let me tell you, we are already having 100 plus PhD enrolled. So that is going to be, it may increase to 200. I am sure that by 22 or 23, it will be 200 plus. And so what I'm trying to say is that, yes, we have a vision to expand, but true vision is little different. Now, I have designed some different quality policy. People, of course, it is in the line of the NAC. The curriculum design is with the global thinking and local needs. This is what is our slogan. Think globally, but act locally. What I say that I was talking in the morning also, we need to work on our local requirements, whether it is PPE kit or anything, so medical devices. Precision medicine, everything is going abroad. Why? We are going to do it. And as I told you, we have already got the center approved. Pedagogy with participative learning. I'm not expanding what we are. I'm not telling that we have of course, this is a new era now where online teaching and everything has come. But again, we have a little different thinking. It should be simultaneously learning and doing for the society or for research. That's what is our thinking. Research, we promote basic research, but it has to be with some applied value, innovation and incubation. That is what is our goal and that we are trying to promote. Infrastructure, we want something ambience. Right now, of course, you are not in the campus, so you are not seeing that, but we will improve in that area only. Doctor, he has come, Dr. Vavia, if he has come, you please let me know. Okay, and he has come?
No, sir.
Okay. So job creation is one thing, but the startup culture will bring that we offer the jobs rather than doing that. Governance, I always believe leadership without power. While I'm at the top, I never want to exert my power. And when it says power, power can be even when you are in the lowest position also. That should be the power. It is not necessary to show the power. You have to be head of the department or director or professor only. No, I don't believe that way. I believe power should be within of power should be of your work, your own recognition. That's what is there. Of course, sports and yoga integration for healthy life. That is one of the best practices, but we will see that. Well, we proposed many things. I don't know how long and how many things will be in a position to do that, but these are the projections we are working on. Biomedical engineering to have the medical devices, pharmaceutical management, pharmacovigilance, artificial intelligence, and especially, actually, reverse has already started. Drug regulatory affairs and regulatory science is going to be on the top now. It is going to be there soon. The order they are going to come. That's what is my feeling. That when it comes to various courses, yes, we project that we are going to start one program of pharmacovigilance with the help of the Apollo Hospital, that postgraduate diploma in clinical research. That is going to be the reality. It has already started rather, and it will be with the help of the Apollo, the hospital, the training, everything will be done in the Apollo Hospital. And a certificate course or MPharm for the drug regulatory science for those who are already working. That is what is. These are the two additions. MPT, sports science, is also starting this year, and maybe MSc in the sports pharmacy also. This is what is the thing. We have projected many more. Soon it will be there. There are centers of excellence which will be there. We have the provisions of the national professors, 3. Currently, we have only 1, SS Agrawal. Distinguished professor, because of age, Dr. S.K. Gupta has left now, but they are there. Adjunct professor, yes, we have several names already, and Dr. K.K. Agrawal has also joined, who is the very well-known cardiologist in Delhi. Some guest professors have also been identified and they have been named. And finally, the visiting professors for the sabbatical, she could not come because of the lockdown and all that. Otherwise, it was all, everything was done. Now, the research areas we had earlier, but now new faculty joining, I will be very honest to tell that it will depend on them, which direction the teaching faculty leads us. So that's what is there. See, we are having 11 professors now, so that is going to make a difference. That's what is important. And yes, we wish that our H index and everything goes up. The incubation center has gone up. Last year I told you that we had a nutraceutical formulation, and this year I'm hopeful of the COVID drug. Various companies, international, national, MOUs which are done, but these all are with a purpose. Something is going on with them. So we were to start with the China Pharmaceutical Sciences. Hunan, we already started a project, but with the Indo-China war, I don't think we will continue. I don't know what will be the fate of that. But something is, I mean, you can see, I mean, what I want to tell is that it is not just for the signing of the MOU. We are having some program or other going on with them. This is the purpose of MOU. This is something which our Delhi government is very, very interested to have more and more skill development programs. And that's what we are trying. And it all comes to, I don't know, it's n number of courses can be thought about. And they are ready to give extra funds for that. But we are thinking, I mean, hospital care attendant and all that. Let us see how and where we head to it. And building wise, of course, this is our main building of university now. 7 floors. In a way, it's quite good, but looking to the number of the students, we are feeling a crunch of it. So soon we should have more. Expansion plans also are in place. We have developed those plans also. So basically our vision is that the DIPSAR has to have 3 strong footings: intellectual, economical, and social. All 3 impact have to come. We had the base, strong base was DIPSAR. And on that, we are now building it further on these 3 fronts: R&D, industrialization, skill development, and through community pharmacy, through programs on the MPH, MHM, and some skill, we are going to go further into it. And that's what is truly our national education policy also. So I think this is enough. If you have any questions, you can ask rather than I tell more about the university. So yes, I will stop this part. Yeah. Yeah. Anything you want to ask or anybody?
Delegates. Do you have
any suggestion for the university? Anybody? I told you, I believe in power without hierarchy.
Hello. Good evening,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
Sir, any plans to open postgraduate diploma courses in quality control, drug standardization, herbal drug validations?
Well, we have already signed MOU with the IPC, Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission. And we started a modest thing to have some certificate course, but unfortunately, we could not go further. But definitely we can go, we can do. And if you suggest any program, we will take it up.
Sir, the problem with the certificate course, students are not interested for the certificate. If at all it is a postgraduate diploma, then we can expect. And
I will be happy if you give us like some suggestion in the write-up form, and if we can take it further, we will definitely take it further.
Right, sir. Thank you.
any other suggestion of the delegates?
I know, I remember that. Okay.
Vandana, Madam, Patrawale, Madam.
Right. Send me that. 18th is also fine if you want. No.
In fact, yes, I'm just waiting for sir to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. 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 Sorry, doctor. What Vandana? I got a phone. So how are you, madam? Namaskar.
Namaskar, sir. I'm fine, and I was really very, very impressed with the wide spectrum of activities which DIPSAR is planning to take. Of course, many different areas, and simultaneously working in those many areas and still excelling at it itself will be a challenge in itself. But I'm sure with your leadership and the people which you have to support you, many things will be accomplished. I just was very much interested to know, since you said you have a special wing in ocular pharmacology. So some good animal model for posterior segment, does it exist already?
See, ocular pharmacology is complete by itself. And I think Dr. Rajni Mathur has been handling that. But as I remember, the models of glaucoma and all, they were very well designed. I mean, what you see, what you are doing in the humans, they were all standardized rather in the animals also.
So maybe
So I
I'll
don't know
get in
exactly.
touch with her, because I'm looking at someone who can deliver the drugs. We do have systems, but to test whether they reach the posterior segment. So kinetics with respect to posterior segment is something which will be of interest. If someone is there who would mutually be interested, we can work it out together.
It will be good. I will find out from her, honestly, because I never had I mean, I did a very old model at that time in rabbit, but what you are talking, I can understand. You are trying to have retinal regeneration. Am I right?
Absolutely. We are looking
Yeah.
at the absolutely non-invasive route to reach posterior segment. So if someone
Yeah.
can help us with that.
I will
And
find out.
Yeah. Any special procedure for signing MOU, sir, with the DIPSAR?
No. At least 1 year I'm here. Any MOUs are welcome. And I will, only thing, it will be not only signed with some commitment, okay, we are going to do this work or that work.
Absolutely.
That is the only
So
thing which...
I will initiate that from our end, from
Sure,
ICT.
sure. Welcome.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I would like to tell those who are all listening to Dr. Vanda Patrawale, I really admire her. I have been working in the cardiovascular field for a long time. And we had the first in human trial also at one stage for the stage 4 patients. I mean, when there is a repeated congestive heart failure and you are not having any go to say, I mean, nothing can be done, bypass cannot be done, then you have a simple constriction of the sinus venosus and do that. So a device was made by one company. So we had such trial. What I'm trying to say is that, but I never thought that somebody can make stents in India. And we all pharmacy people should take pride of Dr. Vanda Patrawale, she is the only one who has done this job, who made the company, who assisted that company, Sajanand. And if somebody talks about the medical devices in India, something which is indigenously developed, it is only and only Sajanand, and the scientist behind is Dr. Vandana. Let me tell you. I mean, this is something, I don't know how many of you are really knowing this part, but it is a truth. It is because of her telling about that polymer, what polymer and how to utilize, how to optimize. Because of that, that stent was possible. See, initial phases, the failure of stents, I gave these results to the cardiologist way back in 2002. No, the drug eluting stents are not good. I told that, but that cardiologist was not ready to listen and publish that paper. I said, sir, negative result कौन publish करेगा? मैंने कहा करो ना. The results are results. Let them criticize. But after 2 years, they turned out, and the culprit was only polymer. So I can understand. I don't know much about that, but what I mean, doctor, doctor also gave the lecture, but I could not remember. But it is a matter of what polymer you are using. And we pharmacy, we always talk about the polymers and this thing, that thing. Have you ever thought that these are the real applications? You try to do that. So, I mean, this is what I want to tell to all those who are listening. I mean, one should understand such people and try to, they are the real models for you to, if you want to do a good research.
Thank you for the kind words. But yes, I would also like to say that utilize your knowledge of formulation in the field of devices. There's plenty out there which we can do. And yeah, very correctly sir said, it was just the modulation of release coupled with the right kind of polymer which made this to go in market and now being sold in more than 65 countries. So thank you so much sir for highlighting
So this is,
that.
of course, the chemists are sitting, but let me tell you, when I was forced to guide the students of pharmaceutics, I asked the students first to classify these polymers available or excipients available on the basis of the requirement or their properties, so that normally what happens in every formulation, there are typical few polymers and all, they are being repeatedly asked by the teacher, and the student make them and try here and there and give it. But this is the way we are supposed to do. We should go beyond all this. We have to come out of all these things. So this is what is the real way. If you really want to, otherwise you will keep on shouting that we are not getting jobs, where are the scopes. These are all excuses. Let us open our minds. Let us go beyond what one can think. Listen to people like them. I mean, this is what is required. Thank you. Welcome to this.
Afternoon, everybody. Our next speaker, Dr. Rohinton Toddywala, has joined with us. And I think if Sir permits, DC Sir permits, we can...
Yeah, please. I was an intruder unnecessarily. I should not have come in. But anyway, welcome.
Let us start with our fourth lecture of today. Let me introduce our speaker, Dr. Rohinton Toddywala. He has over 29 years of proven leadership experience in the pharmaceutical, biotechnology, consumer and medical device industry. He has the management expertise in biotechnology, consumer products, drug discovery, generic pharmaceuticals, growth and the turnaround, marketing and business development, medical devices and diagnostics, product development, US and worldwide, small business startup, strategy and business planning. He has expertise in biologics, thrombolytics and respiratory, neurovascular stents, neurostimulation, oral health, drug device combination products, respiratory products, IPF, COPD, asthma, SBIR grants, dermatology, transdermal drug delivery systems, and women's health like incontinence, vaginal and uterine disorders. Dr. Rohinton Toddywala is a Chief Technology Officer at Inspirex Inc. from January 2015 till date. He was CEO of Nostrum Technologies up to December 2014. Before that, he was on board of directors. From January 2016 to February 2008, he was Vice President and Venture Leader, Selected Nerve Stimulation. And he was Vice President Research and Development, Gynaecare at the Unicon Inc. He was Director at New Technologies, Personal Products of Johnson & Johnson. Education-wise, he has done his Bachelor's in Science in Pharmacy, Master's in Pharmacy from Bombay College of Pharmacy, then doctorate from Reuters, the State University of New Jersey. He has done Masters of Business Administration again from Reuters, the State University of New Jersey. He has executive education from Harvard Business School. There are many awards to his credit, and he has patents to his credit. To name a few, he has breath actuated nebulizer patent. Then he has personal lubricant compositions patent. He has antifungal vaginal cream composition patent, polymers related patent he has, and many more. Many are in the pipeline. He is a coveted speaker and he is presented at different international forums. It is pleasure to have you, Dr. Rohinton Toddywala, in this 30-second quality improvement program, and it is our pleasure to listen to you. The mic goes to Dr. Rohinton Toddywala.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank Jyotiji. How good to see you. I was listening to your conversation earlier with Vandana. I know she's online too. So Vandana is dear to me because her advisor, her dad, Dr. Bhalla, was my advisor in BCP over 30 years ago.
Thanks for remembering.
Anyway, let me, what I'd like to do is I'm going to switch to my presentation, if that's okay. And then, talk to you.
Please go ahead.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk today about a topic that I am really passionate about. I'm humbled by this invitation, and I want to thank the organizers at DIPSAR, especially Amrita ji, for this opportunity. As she mentioned, my name is Rohinton. Everybody calls me Ronnie, and I'm speaking to you from New Jersey, where it's about 5:45 a.m. in the morning on a very cold fall morning. Little about myself. As Amrita said, I got my B.Pharm and M.Pharm from Bombay, and then went to the United States, did my PhD and my MBA in drug delivery from PhD from in drug delivery from Rutgers, and then did my MBA later on. I've worked in several companies over my 30-year career, mostly in Johnson & Johnson in different positions and in different divisions of Johnson & Johnson. I am currently the Chief Technology Officer of Inspirex and the Executive Vice President for Nostrum Pharmaceuticals, LLC. All right, so let me start my presentation, and I'm going to talk about combination devices. I'm sure many of you have heard of the book called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. Combination products are a bit like that title. Combination product basically matches a drug or a biologic with a device. In essence, it's a sangam of a drug and device or a biologic and device. This meeting brings huge opportunities for the pharmaceutical industry, but also introduces significant complexity and challenges, which I'll talk about today. So this brings me to the first of many concepts related to this type of product that I'll be talking about, and that is the question of whether a product would be a drug device or a device drug. Although that order may not look very important, it has a huge regulatory implication, at least in the United States market. A device, sometimes a device just provides a gentle push to the drug to help it go to a site of action. In that case, it is a drug device. Example of that would be a pre-filled syringe for the delivery of insulin, where the syringe is basically delivering the insulin to the patient. The converse example is that of a device drug. In that case, the main effect is that of the device, and the drug basically just helps it work better. An example of that, which I believe you guys were just talking about, is a drug-eluting stent, where the main effect is that of the stent opening up the artery, but the drug helps it with the anti-inflammatory or anti-proliferative activity. We'll discuss both of these with some case studies. So I want to differentiate between a combination product and a what I call a container closure. If a vial, say, containing insulin is there, that is really not considered a combination product. But if it's a pre-filled syringe that serves both as a container closure and the dose delivery device, that is considered a combination product. A product packaged together in the same package would also be considered a combination product. So continuing with the example, an insulin vial packaged in a syringe in the same package would be considered a combination product. In fact, combination products can be a single entity, co-packaged or cross-labeled to meet the definitions of a combination product. Towards the end of the presentations, I'll spend a few minutes talking about the quality and regulatory aspects of this type of product. To me, this is a very important slide. Combination product brings together several different fields of science, life sciences, pharmaceutical sciences, and engineering. And more recently, it also brings together the field of technology. Success or failure of a product depends on the collaborations in the different fields. And as educators or students, I would urge you to form such cross-field collaborations, since these can lead to very new and innovative products, which are of major benefit to our ultimate customers, who are our patients. The life cycle of a pharmaceutical product can be very complex, long, and has many failures. Today, if you take a look at it, if you start with about 1,000 drug molecules in early discovery, you only get to about 10 to get to which get into a clinical development, and perhaps one will get into the market. Once a product is in the market, there is a small window of opportunity where the product reaches its potential before the intellectual property and exclusivity expires and before the generic competitors enter. Combination products allow for an additional layer of intellectual property and complexity for the original innovator to expand this life cycle. All right, let's talk a little bit about some examples of combination products. A very, very good example is that of a product called the Advair Discus in the field of respiratory diseases. This is an example of what I originally called a drug device. I will go further into details of this particular product in my presentation. This is a fairly complex product. It's a dry powder inhaler. It actually contains 2 different drugs, and the device also delivers about 60 doses or about 1 month of medication. The patents for this particular product have expired, and there's actually one generic product in the market. And according to a May 19th market report, Cipla has basically filed recently for an ANDA for a generic version of this product. Having said that, only time will tell if they succeed in actually getting approval. Another report says that after years of work, Novartis, the Sandoz division of Novartis, recently called it quits, and they spent about $442 million to actually develop this product before they called it quits. So development of a generic equivalent is not easy, and the main reason for that is the fact that it's a drug device combination.
Dr. Roni, can you be
Yes.
louder?
Sure, I'll try.
Or you can just, check the settings, mic settings.
Yeah, is this better?
Yeah, this is better.
Okay. Another example is that of a product called Humira, which is sold by a company called AbbVie in the United States. This product is an example of a biologic device where the biologic is adalimumab and the device is a syringe, a prefilled syringe. The product is used for rheumatoid arthritis, and at least in the US, it's pretty much a blockbuster success. I bring up this example since this is an example of where the patent actually expired for the Humira, and another company called Amgen came up with a biosimilar product with a slightly improved formulation. What happened was that, by the way, the Amgen product is called Amgevita. The product got sold in in Europe, but in the United States there was a litigation, and Amgen was not allowed to sell it till I think 2023. In the meantime, what AbbVie did was they basically fixed the formulation issue that they had, which was a citrate buffer. And now we are seeing advertisements for a Humira citrate-free product already in the marketplace before Amgen can even launch the product. So therefore, by the litigation, the AbbVie was not only able to delay the competition from coming into the market, but also potentially resolve any kind of competitive issue, differences that there would be in the product. All right, another example of a drug device, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with, is that of a insulin. Insulin by itself, like I said, in a vial is not a drug device, but more recently you'll see several pre-filled syringes that actually look like a pen. So this is an example of a product called a Humalog Pen, which is sold by Eli Lilly. More recently, there are products that are coming out which are much long acting, in the sense that you would just put it on the stomach, and then they are controlled by a device like a phone from the outside. An example that I'm showing here is something called an Omnipod, which is sold by a company called Insulet in the United States. Now, more recently, there is even further innovation that's happened in the field of insulin. Remember, insulin is decades old. The newer innovation is that of integrating diagnosis and therapy in the same device. So this is a device now sold by a company called Medtronic. It's called the Minimed, and it includes both. It includes drug, device, diagnostic, hardware, and software. So this is an example of pretty much everything in one device. And again, all of these are related to improving the standard of care for the patient. A couple more examples. This device that I'm showing here is called a Synchromed pain pump, and it's again sold by Medtronic. And this is what they call an intrathecal pump. The pump is typically implanted in the stomach area. So this is an implant. And there's a small wire that comes out and then goes into the back area where the patient is suffering from a lot of pain. The pump is meant to be permanently implanted, and it's programmable and delivers pain medication, and then the drug like baclofen or something can be refilled using a syringe from external sources when it gets empty. The final example I have is that of a drug-eluting stent. I mean, cardiac stents are used to prop up closed arteries of the heart, and then to prevent the restenosis over the last couple of decades, drug-eluting stents have been used. This type of delivery, again, is an example of a device drug, and I'll be discussing that as a case study briefly later on in my presentation. So the question is, why combination products? Why not stick to the traditional device mechanisms or delivery mechanisms or drug by itself? Simply, combination products allow our industry to provide advanced medical therapy with dosage consistency and simplification. They allow for better patient outcomes, and in many cases, better patient compliance, which is a big topic right now in the industry. And then in the long run, they provide better healthcare costs, efficiencies compared to the traditional approaches of drug or devices. Now let's move into the development of a combination product. You know, we've already talked about examples of collaboration that is needed between pharmaceutical scientists and with engineers. Unfortunately, traditionally, the development of a drug and the development of a device are completely different processes in the industry. The drug development, as everybody is probably familiar with on this call, usually starts with drug discovery, some preclinical or non-clinical studies, clinical studies, which may be phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, etc., and then followed that up by getting approval. And then after the approval and the expiration of the product, there would be generic product development, etc. A device, on the other hand, basically starts with the pathway of developing what the user needs are, creating some of the design inputs, making prototypes, doing the design outputs, verification, and any clinical studies that are developed required. So it's a very different development process. I've lived in both worlds, so I know it is extremely different. A combination product adds a further layer of complexity in which the product, not only the company not only has to worry about the drug aspects, but they also have to worry about the device aspects. And then they have to worry about the middle part, which is combining and the user interface and all the quality and risks that comes out of that. So it gets fairly complicated related to that particular aspect. All right, so let's do this now. I want to kind of journey into the development of combination products, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some case studies to help the folks on this call really understand how some of these products develop. So I'm going to take one case study of a drug device, another one of a device drug. So let's start with the first one, and that is a topic near and dear to my heart, which is aerosol delivery. Just a disclaimer, I have not worked on this particular product. This is everything that I've taken regarding this particular device, drug device, is from the current literature. Okay. So let's first talk about what the aerosol is and what a typical aerosol is, and what are the ideal characteristics. So aerosol delivery is basically uses a device to project drug into the lung, into the deep sections of the lung. In that sense, the drug basically has to have a very, very small diameter. We call it the MMAD, or the mean mass median aerodynamic diameter. And it's got to be less than 5 microns. But it can be less than, say, half a micron either, because what happens is that anything less than half a micron will basically get breathed out with your breath, and anything higher than 5 or 5.5 microns will go a stick in the back of your throat. So there's a window there, which allows a product to get to the lung and provide high lung deposition efficacy. Beyond that, there are many, many characteristics of an ideal aerosol delivery system. I won't go through all of them, but we talked about, it has to be short therapy time. It's the product's got to be a portable device, etc. Let's talk about this particular product. The product I'm talking about is, it's called the Advair Discus. And I don't know if you can see me, but this is actually the product that is there. The manufacturer of this particular product is GlaxoSmithKline. The disease indication for this particular drug is drug combination devices, asthma and COPD. There are 2 drugs, as I mentioned earlier, fluticasone and salmeterol. One is a corticosteroid and the other one is a long-acting beta agonist, salmeterol. The dose of this particular drug, fluticasone, is varied. So it's 100, 250, 500 microns, whereas the salmeterol remains constant at 50 micrograms. Each device has 60 doses. This again has been a blockbuster for GlaxoSmithKline. In 2013, their global sales were about 5.27 billion pounds. The patent expired in 2016, and by 2018, their sales had gone down to 2.4 billion pounds. And the reason for that was the introduction of more competition. There are 2 products out there. One is a branded competition called Air Duo, and the other one is a product which Mylan is brought to the market called Vanaxa. And then Cipla has just, as I mentioned, applied for a product license in the US. I'm not exactly sure if the product, this particular product, inhaler, does. So a dry powder inhaler basically combines a excipient. Usually it is lactose, and the drug is with the pressure of the inhaled air that a patient takes, the particles loosen up and the drug goes into the lung for effect. Some of the advantages and disadvantages of a product like this is that it's a very quick and convenient way to use this product. In our research area, patient breath coordination is very important. So this product does not need much of patient breath coordination. Unlike traditional PMDIs or pressurized metered dose inhalers, no propellants are required. and the formulations are, because they are in a dry powder, are fairly stable. Some of the disadvantages, obviously, is that the deposition is dependent on the inspiratory breath, which becomes a problem because the patients who are asthmatic are many times not able to breathe at the rate that they need to be breathing it. Powders obviously also can be moisture sensitive, and therefore that can be a problem both from a production perspective and also providing inconsistent therapy. So as we do these dry powder inhaler formulation kind of efforts, we have to worry about some of the factors that we consider are particle size, shape, density, etc. The aerodynamic particle size distribution, which again depends on the inhalation flow rate, the fluidization, the mechanical forces, and the aggregation that can happen, especially with high humidity areas, and then any kind of device resistance. And then as it goes into the lung, it has to deposit into the lung, and there are several factors such as impaction, sedimentation, and diffusion that are important in that aspect from a dry powder inhaler perspective. So just want to explain a little bit about how this product operates. The patient would essentially confirm the doses that are left on the device. Then they would open up the cover of the device. They would activate the dose, and at that point, they have to be ready to inhale the dose. And I'll tell you why in a minute. They have to hold the device in a very specific horizontal position. They have to exhale, take a deep exhale, place the mouthpiece in the mouth, and then take a deep breath. The formulation, as I mentioned, it's, I'm not going to go through this again, but it's fluticasone and salmeterol. And then lactose is the excipient that it goes in. The only thing I'll comment here is that the total formulation is very, very simple. So the actual the actual intellectual property is typically not in the formulation, but it's in the device itself, because the formulation is very, very simple. And the discus obviously delivers you know, certain amount of both of these drugs into the lung. As we do the formulation, we have to worry about what the CMC considerations are, the chemistry manufacturing controls considerations, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. In the case of a product like Advair, you have to worry about the drug aspects, quote unquote, the device aspects, and then also the combination aspects. So from a drug aspect, for example, you would think about the color, odor, appearance, the what the drug is, how it interacts with each other, especially since it's two drugs. Whereas from a device perspective, you have to worry about things like the particle size, how the product gets delivered into the lung, what is the in vitro dose, etc. And then also we have to worry about things like extractables and leachables from the device going into the drug, which may affect the patient. Wanted to give you a little bit about the device itself. It's a fairly complex device. I've tried to show it to you over here. Like I said, the main intellectual property is in the device. It has a strip of drug that is in the in a rolled up strip, and then as the as each dose gets delivered, the strip moves forward and then delivers and keeps it ready for the next dose. So that's how the product works. After every dose, the strip basically, when you hit the trigger, it advances. And as it advances, the strip basically peels off, revealing the drug, which the patient can then inhale. Again, from a device perspective, we would consider things like engineering drawings. As you can see or imagine, a product like this has so many different parts, but they all have to meet and they all have to act together in order for this product to be reliable from from dose to dose. So from that perspective, the engineering aspects are very, very complex, and we have to worry about the engineering drawings, the tolerance tracking, the materials that we use for the device itself. In this case, I believe they are polypropylene. And then the main thing that we also have to worry about is the biocompatibility of the materials that we use for this device. There have been many instances where the polymers basically, especially for liquid type formulations, they extract out into the formulation and then cause problems for the patient. Just want to go through some of the technical aspects. As I mentioned, the dose delivered of this particular device is dependent on how fast or slow the patient can actually inhale. The good news is with the discus, in the top left corner piece that I'm showing you, at 30, 60, and 90, the discus is fairly flat. So that's what you want to see in a product, because a patient breathing in at 30 liters per minute will have the similar effect as the patient breathing from at a 90 liter per minute rate. The top right shows you some of the particle size kind of things. Again, we look for particle size in the range of 0.5 to 5.5, and this looks like a nice curve related to that. We talked about the device resistance. The more the resistance, obviously, the worse the patient can inhale. As you can see, in this case, the device resistance obviously increases with the flow rate. And then finally, that results in differences in lung deposition. So if a faster the flow, the more lung deposition you get. The slower the flow, the lesser the deposition you might get into the lung. Let's go into some of the other aspects, preclinical, non-clinical studies for each of these devices. One has to consider and do a whole battery of toxicology studies, general toxicity, genetic toxicity, carcinogenicity, reproducibility, etc. And that is for the drug itself. As we look at our devices, which are aerosol delivered, we also have an additional burden to show that by aerosolization, we are not going to cause any new kind of toxicology. So there's an additional layer of showing not only the regular toxicity, but also the inhaled toxicity of a compound. And in that, one has to think about what animal model you're going to use. And in many cases, the animal models that we use for inhalation may not be representative of what the humans have. So you have to consider all of that as you're doing some of these studies. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce another concept, which is not usually considered in the pharma side, but is very, very well considered in the drug device side or the device side itself. and that is that of the human factors. What happens with these devices is that the device actually, the efficacy of the device is not only dependent on the drug that you're putting in there, but it also is very important from a human factors perspective, i.e. how the patient or the doctor using the product uses the product. So from that aspect, we have to conduct several studies to actually determine how a human, a patient, in the case of, in this case, it's the patient, because the patient is going to take the product day in and day out, how the patient uses the product. So is it comfortable, easy to use, things like that. And can the patient do this kind of therapy day in and day out, etc. In the case of products that are used by doctors or surgeons, that human factors has to be done with the surgeons and not the patients in that case. So let's just go through quickly what, for example, in the case of adware discus, what the human factors could have been. Obviously, I was not involved with the development of this product, but I just took out the adware discus, some of the steps that a patient would use for correctly using the adware, and that gives you the clues for what kind of issues they might have had in terms of human factors. So for example, things like exhale away from the discus. To me, that's an indication that if you inhale into the discus, your powder is going to basically blow away, and therefore you are not going to get dose consistency. Place the mouthpiece in your mouth and apply a tight seal. That's again an indication that you don't want, if that's not done correctly by the patient, you'll get dose inconsistency. Keep the device horizontal. I remember I said when I was showing you the method, the product has to be kept horizontal. The picture I have up there of me holding the device, actually is me holding the device downward. And what happens is that the entire dose actually just falls out. So if a patient, once they trigger the product, is not holding it horizontally, they may get no drug. And then finally, the dose counter is there in the device. And that's an indication for many patients to go out, and it goes from higher to a lower number. So as the dose counting goes lower, it's an indication for the patient to go out and buy another product so that they have, they don't lose the therapy while the product is being ordered or something like that. So those are some of the human factors that we want to consider about for this kind of a product. Related to manufacturing, obviously, this is a complex process because you have to worry about the formulation, but also now the device, and there are so many parts to this device, so they need to be assembled, etc. In addition to that, one has to consider the usual stuff like the particle size, shape, the electrostatic charges. If while you're manufacturing there are electrostatic issues, then that can be of issue. When you're doing a device assembly, there could be issues if one part or the other is not assembled correctly. So typically when I design any kind of device, you want to make sure that the manufacturing people cannot put it in the wrong manner. That's a very important consideration, and we do something called a process FMEA for that. And then, of course, we talked about already production, humidity, and dose uniformity. Think about it from an adware perspective. It has a strip and a 12.5 milligram dose is going to go into that strip. So that I can only imagine that this is going to be a very tough manufacturing process to maintain the humidity and to produce and put 12.5 milligrams into the strip consistently. Okay, I want to go a little bit into some of the other aspects for those people who are getting bored about the pharmaceutics aspects. The product, obviously, whenever we do a product like this, we have to worry about the pharmacokinetics. This particular slide I have taken from the Vinaxa, which is the generic product that was just introduced a couple of years ago in the marketplace. And in this case, you can see the actual test product, which would be the Mylan product, and the Advair, which is the reference product. From a pharmacokinetics perspective, is fairly consistent. So that's the kind of stuff you want to see. You want to see the ratios of the, so for example, the Cmax and the area under the curve to be close to 1, which is an indication that they are fairly similar in similar. Going into the clinical efficacy, typically, at least in the US, we require 2 clinical studies for a drug device combination. So in this case, and these are 2 phase 3 studies, obviously you do a lot more before that. In this case, you can see that the product basically in the first day of treatment, you see that there is less differentiation between the Advair discus and the salmeterol. There is obviously a huge differentiation between the fluticasone and the Advair discus, and then of course the placebo. But over a period of time, so the next, the one on the right is the study done on the same patients after 12 weeks. You can see a very, very huge difference between the, obviously the placebo and the drug product, but also between the individual drugs. And because this is a complex device with 2 different drugs, you've got to show clinical efficacy for all of them. In this case, the clinical efficacy is done as a FEV1 percentage change from the baseline. As you're doing the clinical studies, obviously you have to worry about what the adverse events are going to be and document them. And in this case, from an Advair perspective, most of the adverse events are related to the ear, nose, and throat, some candidiasis or thrush, throat irritation, as well as some lower respiratory infections that people get with a product like this. Okay. All right. I'm going to move on to the next case, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the device drug. And for that, I'm using the drug eluting stent as an example. Okay. So let me just set the stage for that. In 2016, approximately the global deaths due to cardiovascular diseases was about 17.5 million people. And in the US, about 965,000 angioplasties were performed. I'm pretty sure you guys know what the numbers are in India, and I'm fairly confident that they are not lower than 965,000 angioplasties. Many of these angioplasties then result in the installation of 1 or more stents into the patient. So let's talk a little bit about the what a stent is. The simplest explanation of a stent that I like is that if you open up your ballpoint pen and you see a little bit of a spring inside, that's actually a fairly decent approximation of a stent, although in this case, the design is very, very different of a stent. So stents have some very specific structures which allow it to not only move and provide the effect into the cardiac artery, but also have to be able to sit in a catheter. So the way the stenting procedure works is that there's a very large catheter that this stent is mounted on. And the catheter goes in from the groin area and then is traveled by the interventional radiologists all the way into the heart, into the cardiac arteries. And then once it reaches the area where the myocardial infarction is there, it is deployed. And then once it's deployed, the catheter is slowly pulled out. So this is a fairly specific procedure. It's performed by the interventional cardiologist. Before stents, the procedure used to be what they call a CABG, which is open heart surgery. And in many cases, you had to shut down the heart to actually perform that kind of this thing. And as you can imagine, that can be very invasive. In the case of stents, once you get the procedure, typically, at least in the US, the patient can go home within the next couple of days. In terms of what the stent characteristics are, one can imagine that it's got to be highly flexible, biocompatible, because it's going to sit in the artery for the rest of your life. It's got to have a high radial strength, and it's got to be able to be trackable. For example, as the surgeon is actually using the product, they need to be able to track it. And then, of course, when the patient, if the doctor wants to take a certain visualization, one should be able to see it. And then, of course, it has to be able to be easily deployed. Regarding stents, there are two different kinds of stents in the marketplace. One are what we call balloon expandable, and the other one are called the self-expanding. The balloon expandable stents, typically the catheter has the balloon, and until it reaches the artery, the balloon is in a closed position. And then, once the catheter is in the right position, the surgeon would deploy the balloon, expand it, and at that point, the stent expands, and then the balloon is deflated and pulled out. So that's kind of how this thing works. Self-expanding is pretty much self-explanatory in the sense that once it goes there, it just pops open, and then it just hits the side of the walls of the artery. Many materials are being used: stainless steel, cobalt, chromium, nitinol, etc. Nitinol being the self-expanding thing. And below in the cartoon, I'm showing the collapsed stent. I mean, collapsed artery. The balloon goes there. The patient deploys it. What happens in the case of stents is that once it's deployed over several years, there is something called a restenosis that happens, and that can result eventually in the patient having to either go through a CABG procedure or go back and do another stenting. So the use of drugs prevents some of the restenosis that can occur. I'm not going to go through this entire table. It's a lot, but the point here is that there are many stents in the marketplace, and each one of them is unique in their own way. It's got their different kind of polymers. Some of them are biodegradable polymers. Some of them are durable polymers. And then the stent coating can be abluminal, in which case it's only on the vessel side, or conformal, in which case it's everywhere. And then obviously you can imagine this is a very, very small product, and the polymer thickness is fairly small. So one can think about all the complexities that come from the a product like this in terms of the drug. Typically, by the way, the drugs that are used are either anti-inflammatory immune modulators or anti-proliferative. Some of them are like sirolimus or paclitaxel are used. I want to introduce another concept, which is that of risk. And this is a very important concept in the area of devices and drugs, of course, but the concept originally came in from the device side. Think about it from the perspective of a severity of a failure of a device. It could go all the way from really nothing, but the catastrophic severity can be the death or a catastrophic failure of the devices. So as we do any of these drug device combinations, we have to conduct a risk and figure out what the risk is from every element of the design in order to get to a proper thing. And I'm not going to go through that. That's a topic by itself. I just wanted to introduce you to the concept of risk. So in terms of risk, think about it from a drug eluting standpoint, stent standpoint. The risk can come from the stent material, the stent construction, the delivery system, the catheter, the balloon, the drug itself, the drug coating, the manufacturing process, the doctor itself, whether they're using it properly or not, the procedure, and in this case, the doctor, the procedure, and the training that is provided to some of these surgeons by the medical device industry or the pharmaceutical industry is significant before products can be deployed and the doctor can use a product like this. And then, of course, any kind of risk associated with visualization, deployment. And then, of course, we also have to worry about MRI compatibility for the future of the patient. Again, just showing some of the data from a clinical perspective, the cardiovascular death or the MACE, the major adverse cardiovascular events, are significantly lower from a drug eluting stent as compared to the original bare metal stents. So now I'm just going to end my topic by just talking about this from a quality regulatory perspective. From a regulatory perspective, the drug devices are controlled, at least in the US, by the drug side of the business in the FDA, whereas the device drugs are regulated by the device side of the business. Again, those may not be of issue in India. They do it a little differently. In Europe, they do it a little differently, but this is more a US centric thing. From a quality perspective, again, one has to worry not only about the quality from a drug perspective, which is the original CGMP requirements. And I'm sure everybody is familiar with a lot of the CGMP requirements. But from a device perspective, we have to worry about the device-related aspects of the of quality, and some of them are related to things like design controls, risk management, corrective preventive action, etc., servicing of the device if it's a reusable device, etc. So again, I'm going to end my presentation now, and hopefully we can get some questions. But if you're in summary, these devices are They include significant complexity to the traditional drug delivery model. Traditional drug delivery principles are usually taught in pharmacy colleges. However, if you are developing a product like a drug device combination, you have to collaborate with other fields of life sciences and engineering to achieve success. Some of the concepts that I introduced hopefully were useful to you guys in terms of what is a drug device, device drug, what human factors are, and what risk management is. With that, I'm going to close my presentation. I thank you guys for the opportunity, and we can go into some questions.
Dr. Roni, there is a question from Vandana Patravale. I saw a dissolved metals as a test in CMC slide. Could you elaborate?
Okay, let me go into that slide. Dissolved metals?
Yeah. The question reads like this. I saw dissolved metals as a test in CMC slide. Could you elaborate?
Yeah, so what happens is that this is a rare problem, but sometimes what happens is that the drug and or the device may have some metallic components, and as you're developing it, remember these devices and this kind of particular product is going into the lung. So one of the things that we have to worry about is any kind of things that can extract out of the device itself. And then those things can be carcinogenic in many cases, because some of the polymers that are made, they are as they are monomers, they are fairly toxic materials. But as they become polymers, they are fairly inert materials. Similarly, as you're in many cases you're using metallic components in your device, and those can have some dissolved metals in them, which may not be an issue if you're inhaling it once, for example, but when you have a device, and this may be an example of for meter dose inhalers, it's got a liquid, and over a period of time that the metal or some of the polymeric monomers that are in very, very low quantities can leach out into the formulation and cause problems.
The seminar is open for questions. If delegates have any questions, they can themselves ask by unmuting.
Thank you, Mr. Roni. Very good presentation you have done. I got one query regarding the stunts, especially cardiac stent. There was a very huge and cry a few years back regarding the prices of the stunts. So, as a pharmacy professional, also it becomes very difficult to tell or justify the price difference which was there earlier and which was there after the some cap which government has announced. So why such a huge difference? Only because of the material of construction or any type of mechanism difference is there?
Yeah, so if you're comparing versus bare metal stents, the complexity of a drug-eluting stent is significantly higher. The pricing, honestly, is normally dictated by the company that's selling the product. And usually, I mean, I'm going to just be honest and say that most companies, in my experience, will provide pricing that is that the market will bear. So whether it is rational, not rational, etc., is entirely up to the company. But I will tell you that if you have a bare metal stent, right, from at least from a regulatory viewpoint, that's a pure device. Once you add a drug to it, right, there is a fair amount of complexity that gets added, not only from the drug side. So you got to have a huge number of toxicology studies and things like that that you have to introduce to the program. So the cost of research and development of those stents definitely does go up. Whether that justifies the significantly higher price, that's, I think, debatable.
Any other questions from the delegates?
Actually, this area is very typical area and a very developing thing in India, especially. We need to make the people as well as pharmacists aware of these medical devices, which is very not much more explored. So there is lot things which need to be carried out, especially what in the morning Professor Goel also mentioned that only the IIT people and biotechnology engineers are involved in developing such type of things, but they are not taking the help of the pharmacy people. So if there is some combination of these IIT engineers or pharma professionals, it will be wonderful thing, wonderful combination that will help definitely the society, especially in a country like India, where cost matters more. No doubt, there is good capacity nowadays for procurement of the medicine as well as medical devices, but then too, for the common people, it becomes somewhat difficult, especially in type of stent type of things. Because at once I was there in one committee where it was very difficult to convince the other medical professional also to why companies making such costly product, and they were not ready to accept that product.
Yeah, so I agree with what you're saying. I think I was looking at the pharmaceutical engineering curriculum recently from Mumbai, and honestly, that curriculum is still what I learned in pharmacy college in 1982. The world has changed, and I think from to pharmacists, us as pharmacists, we need to educate our folks in several aspects of things like engineering, pure engineering. I think what is mostly taught in the pharmaceutical engineering, to my knowledge, is what I would classify as chemical engineering, flow and things like that, which is, by the way, it's very important. So I think there is an opportunity to expand that kind of education, not only in the area of regular engineering, but now if you look at the newer trends, there is also things like software as a medical device. So a lot of products are now going towards software base and all of that. And I think, again, we don't want them to become software engineers, but they definitely need to be exposed to that.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Roni, for such a wonderful presentation. I loved your starting line, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. And it is the sangam of both which creates the beautiful marriage institution. So similarly, you combined the, devices and the drugs and brought out a beautiful combination of the both. So starting line was, punchline was too good. Going further, I just recalled, my son was asthmatic in the childhood. And so I was using a Rotahaler by Cipla. And when I saw your presentation today, I was surprised so much of development in Rotahaler, the small device which has come. So I think it is it's a field which going ahead at a rapid speed. Coming to the point of view of Dr. Wakode, there is a branch called Biomedical Engineering in IIT Delhi.
Yes.
I do not know about other IITs, but IIT Delhi does have it, and they work on this combination of the drug and the device. So similar courses can be started at other educational institutions. Roni, I want you to elaborate a little. I could not understand what you wanted to convey. Software-based drugs, like software devices, something you said in the end.
So yeah, so there's a new upcoming new field, and again, it's I actually showed that with insulin. But the whole point is that so let's just take the example of insulin, right?
Diagnosis as well as the release.
The Omnipod product, for example, that a patient just puts on the top of their stomach, and it's got enough insulin to deliver for about 7 days. But it's driven by it's entirely driven by software. It's driven by a Bluetooth kind of device, which the patient carries with them. And when they are eating, just before they are eating, they basically just dial in the dose, and then the device delivers the insulin into their body. More recently, it's going even further, where there's a diagnostic in there, so that will actually determine the insulin levels, and then based on the insulin levels, it will deliver it upon need. So it's basically trying to mimic what the normal human functioning is, the pancreas does. And all of this is driven by software. And I think from our side, that field is definitely on the rise. I see many things going on. And I mean, there should be some exposure to that. We are actually creating a device which has sensors in them, and the whole idea is for patient compliance. So a lot of these products don't suffer because the patients don't suffer because of the drug. They suffer because the patient actually does not take the drug, or they don't take it consistently. So providing an element of patient compliance, or telling them, hey, you forgot to take your dose, is very important to make them comply, and then that makes things much easier and better.
So role of artificial intelligence is coming into picture?
Absolutely. Artificial intelligence is absolutely coming into the picture.
Because that is the upcoming field for all of IT people, and I think it is an application of that.
Yes.
So thank you, Roni, for such a wonderful presentation with the pictures depicting the actual, always visual impact is something great, and that you utilized too well along with the explanation. And sorry for waking you up early, and
That's okay.
Seminar. So it was great pleasure.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah. So generally we try to honor the speaker with a memento and a token of love and a floral bouquet. But we are going to just give you a certificate, and I request Dr. Wakode to give the certificate to Dr. Rohinton Toddywala, and this will be again technology. I'm going to just flash your certificate.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot for coming and delivering. Again, if I have to say to all of you, Roni is again a friend of mine, more than 30 years when I was new to Bombay. coming from a smaller place. All these people made my life so beautiful. So thank you, Roni, once again, and
Pleasure.
keeping in touch and delivering the seminar today.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. So we are going to close the seminar for today. But before we leave, I just want to tell everyone, are the people there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
What is happening?
Yes, ma'am.
Tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we have some speakers which are from abroad, and again the timing becomes an issue. So for them it becomes a midnight. So we are going to start the seminar little early. That is on 17th, not tomorrow. On 17th, we will start the webinar at morning 9:15.
Fine, ma'am. Fine.
9:15, so that
Okay, ma'am.
it is around 12 o'clock night there. So we have to we have to start little early so that we can accommodate those people. So take it a point that you log in day after tomorrow, not tomorrow. Tomorrow it will be at 10 a.m. only.
Okay, ma'am.
Right. So thank you, everybody. So let us have a good evening and wonderful delegates who are remaining present throughout. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, everyone. Good day.
Thank you.